This recording is going to look at the histology of blood vessels. I'm going to look at two models of the histology of arteries versus veins. Plus, we'll also look at some microscope slides. So we're going to start with this first model, which in the center is depicting an artery, and on either side, these represent veins. So I'm going to just start with the artery, and then we'll look at the veins. Now, the blood vessels have three distinct layers. They have the innermost is called the tunica interna or intima, and that in the artery consists of the endothelium. I'm just going to label it as E, which is that orange. Same as in the veins. Okay, so here we'll just cut it open so you can see. So the endothelium. Then that's beneath that is the subendothelial layer. So I'm just going to abbreviate it as SE. Here you just have to look real careful. I'm not going to label on there because it's so thin. It's just that little gray that you see right in there. In an artery, you have this, which is called the internal elastic membrane. This is a mistake. Veins don't have that, so that should not be there. But in an artery, the tunica interna includes the endothelium, the subendothelial layer, as well as an internal elastic membrane. It's got a lot of elastic fibers associated with it. The tunica interna in a vein is just an endothelium and a subendothelial layer. Now, one thing in the vein you'll notice is right here, these are valves. Valves are made up of folds of the endothelium, and veins have valves, but arteries do not. The next distinct layer that we have in arteries and veins is called the tunica media. The tunica media is going to have some smooth muscle, and so this, I'm just put SM, so you get smooth muscle. Arteries will have more smooth muscle than veins. It does include also, the tunica media does have some collagen fibers. Some vessels will have a lot of elastin fibers. The arteries will have this here, that is the external elastic membrane. So in an artery, the tunica media is these two together. Vein, right now you're just seeing just the smooth muscle there. The outermost layer is called the tunica externa or tunica adventitia. So it's this layer out here, okay? It's got a lot of dense, irregular connective tissue associated with a lot of collagen fibers. Veins will also have some elastin fibers with it. The other model that we have for the blood vessels looks like this. Similar things, just looks a little bit different. So in the center again, here's an artery. Over here on either side are veins. This side again, you see the valves. You get the endothelium, innermost layer. The gray represents the subendothelial layer. Again, that's a mistake, should not be there. Internal elastic membrane is there. So these three together in an artery is the tunica interna. These two together is the tunica interna in a vein. The tunica media in an artery is this layer of smooth muscle and the external elastic membrane. In the vein is just the smooth muscle layer that you're seeing. Out here, that's the tunica adventitia or tunica externa, depending on what term you want to use. Okay, so that's the models that depict the histology of our arteries and veins. Now here is a slide of the aorta. The aorta is very large, and this is even a 4X, and you can't see the whole thing. So it is a very large vessel. What you're seeing on here, and what's going to be something that you're going to be able to say, oh, this has to be aorta, because you notice you see all this. If you zoom in, you're going to see a lot of elastin fibers because the aorta is an elastic artery. It's also a fairly large vessel, and large vessels have what we call vessel of vessels or vasa vasorum. And so you see all these other vessels. So here and here, this is actually an artery. This right here. There's a vein, and these are capillaries. And this is just connective tissue there. So this is the aorta. This here is a section through the vena cava. Again, the vena cava is very large. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing, but what you're going to emphasize, look at, again, I don't see a lot of elastin fibers in there. This, you kind of see, kind of doesn't maintain its shape very well, kind of folds upon itself. Veins without the blood in there is not going to be able to maintain their shape. Aorta, it's pretty much maintained its shape, what you can see there. So this here is the vena cava. Then we have a slide that depicts artery and a vein together. Arteries used pretty much run along with veins. Here's the artery right here. This is the vein right there. One thing you'll notice, veins do not maintain their shape without the blood in there. So they see it kind of collapses a little bit. If I opened that up, the actual size of the lumen would be bigger in the veins than the artery. If you look at the thickness of the wall, the artery is much thicker in there. I'm going to zoom in. So here is an artery. And what you're seeing, you kind of see where it kind of does this. If you zoom in even more, you're going to see it kind of do this. There where you're seeing an internal elastic membrane. Out here, you'll see it kind of again do something like that. That's actually the external elastic membrane. Here's all that smooth muscle that you're seeing. And out here is the tunica externa that you're seeing. Also, just to bring your attention, if you look carefully, what do you think that is? You should be able to identify that connective tissue real easily. So I'm just going to see if you remember it. I'm not going to give you the answer. Here, we zoomed in and you see again the vein and much thinner walled here that you're seeing. And they don't have the internal or external elastic membranes in it. So this is what all I'm going to do for the histology for blood vessels.